So I've been seeing all over social media that the new campaign for Call of Duty is hot garbage, and I'm curious. So I figured I would try it myself. The first thing that's weird is when you boot it up, it's labeled as co-op campaign because you can play it with your friends. It actually defaults to squad fill on, meaning when you want to start the campaign, it tries to matchmake. Like, as you can see here, it like tries to matchmake, which I don't want to do. I'm going to play solo. So I'm just going to go straight into it. It still searches for a match. So it's not an offline campaign. It's actually entirely online. And this is important to know because apparently you cannot pause this game. You cannot like pause and come back in the middle of a mission. It is always online and there are no checkpoints, meaning if you get halfway through a mission and your internet drops for any reason, you have to restart the entire mission over again. There aren't even checkpoints within missions. They just didn't bother doing that. So it's crazy. I mean, I'll be real. I'm not going to pretend to be like an expert in Call of Duty lore or anything. This is far from my typical wheelhouse, but I do like popping into campaigns and narrative stories when I get a chance, narrative games, that is. So color me intrigued. Like, this apparently is a very different kind of campaign than what Call of Duty typically does. And one of the main complaints, what an eclectic group of people. One of the biggest complaints with Call of Duty has been that they don't take risks. They're not bold anymore. They just do safe stuff. So we're gonna try this ourselves and see how safe it is. And we're gonna get into all of the nitty-gritty details with this, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. But first, a thank you to our sponsor, Watcher of Realms, and their brand new Dracula crossover event. Watcher of Realms is the overwhelmingly popular strategy RPG game that's been played by millions on PC and mobile. And right now they're having their crossover event with Dracula, bringing 4 new heroes to the game. Count Dracula, who is of course the Dark Prince himself, who brings extremely high single target burst damage to the table. Lady Mina, who has all sorts of powerful AoE control abilities. Dr. Van Helsing, who is a damage-dealing marksman who's all about high damage from a distance, and Vlad Dracula, who is obtainable for free just by participating in the crossover event. And he himself is a tank character capable of charging in and blocking enemies to control the board. It features over 200 heroes across 10 different factions, endless tactical combinations, and offers a ton of deep strategic planning and gameplay. And right now for this event, they're doing all sorts of mini games, additional game modes, all sorts of stuff. And you can get into it right now for free by downloading it either on PC or on your mobile device through Google Play or the Apple App Store. As part of the event, they're also offering you the chance to do a personality assessment where you can find out which personality type you are and which version of Dracula best suits you. Check them out at the link in the video description box below to download the game, or scan the QR code on screen now. And thank you again for sponsoring this video. Okay, and we're in. So like I mentioned, there is no pausing or anything because of the always online stuff. So if I try to hit escape, the game doesn't pause, even though I am playing this by myself, solo. You just can't do anything. It is completely locked to always online, which is just crazy to me. But this is where we are. Whoops, that's not open. Oh God, my muscle memory is all screwed. Been playing too much Arc Raiders, apparently. My muscle memory is all screwed up from that. Now, the point of people saying that they don't take enough risks, I think is very valid. Like, Call of Duty has historically been very, very safe, and it's been very samey year after year as well, which I think is part of the broader problem. They just don't feel the need to really push because, you know, people still buy it. People still engage with it the same exact way. I gotta select items. Weird. Okay. Well, there we go. Throw the things. Oh, it's a flashbang. It's not even a regular grenade. Unbelievable. I'm a pro. Leave me alone. Oh, these guys pop too. I didn't realize these guys pop too. They all pop. They're all awake. All the robots. I mean, like, on the one hand, I do feel kind of like sorry for them because they are fighting an uphill battle. I mean, right now Call of Duty is like at the lowest level of cool it probably ever has been, and as a result they're trying desperately to reinvigorate the fan base, and that's just a lot easier said than done. Like, once gamers have decided that you're not cool, it's really, 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 really hard to change that, you know? Like, and in the case of Call of Duty, it's not just that it's like uncool, it's that it's like corporate and it's cringe and it's money grubbing, and it's just anything bad that you could say about like big giga corporation gaming applies to Call of Duty, you know? But they're trying to fix that apparently with this campaign and with some of the other stuff they're doing with Black Ops 7 to try and reinvigorate some excitement into the franchise, to do things a little bit more crazy and weird and surrealist. And that's very much, I think, what they're trying to do. Whether or not it's successful remains to be seen. But I will say already, like, if you want to lead off with your strongest stuff, I'm like, what, 10 minutes into this and I'm already bored out of my mind. It's just like, more robots, more little android things. Okay, that's cool. They fold up. That's kind of cool, I guess. Okay, fight some more waves. Put a shield in, reload. It's just like, it's the same thing we've seen 1,000 times. It's crazy, man. But I'm confident, you know, the first 10 minutes, you can't judge a game by 10 minutes. Absolutely. So we're going to keep going. We're going to see what they got, see what they can bring to the table. And I imagine as this video goes on, I will become more and more impressed. That's kind of what I'm hoping at least happens. Because here's the thing. I would love for Call of Duty to be back at the top of its game, to be like actually really competitive, to be really, really good, for people to be excited about the next one. Like, I think that would be great. But I think it's pretty clear at this point that they are just not going to do that unless there's competition. And that's why Battlefield 6's success this year has been really, really good to see. It's why it's important to see the success of something like Arc Raiders. It's why having some actual competition can actually greatly increase the quality of games across the board, even not just the specific ones that we're talking about, like Call of Duty today, but also even the ones that Call of Duty is competing with, because it forces everybody to take it up a notch. Needed to reload. Come on. Peek it. Where you at? There you are. Bagoosh. Skadoosh. Oh, I missed. Skadoosh. Pop. Like, I don't want to be a bummer just for bummer's sake, but it is one of those things where I'm like, who was this made for? Like, it's sort of a lightly near sci-fi inspired story and presentation. And I get it's Black Ops, you know, classic Black Ops, but I just mean in terms of the overall package. Yeah. Like, who are they making this for? Okay. Okay. Fear toxin.
Go! Go!
Okay.
Unknown toxin detected in bloodstreams. Team compromised.
You're all going to die. Okay. Things are about to get really weird because basically there's a toxin and now we're all tripping our asses off, and I guess that's what the campaign is going to be, is tripping your asses off, sort of in an alternative reality, fighting in surreal battles and stuff like that. That seems to be what we're doing, which, like, it's not the worst premise for a campaign ever. You know, don't get me wrong there. I actually did it again. Damn it. But I think it goes back to a big question a lot of people had, which is just frankly, like, is this Call of Duty though? You know, like, is this Call of Duty? What is this about? You know, who's this for? Because it seems like Call of Duty fans are looking for something a little bit more grounded. That's been the main complaint for a long time, has been that they are kind of losing identity for Call of Duty just in general, whether it's the obsession with like cosmetics and skins in the multiplayer, like having Roger from American Dad or you know, Peter from Family Guy. Like, those, they're not bad just inherently, but the point is that they miss out on the identity of what Call of Duty is, or at least has historically been. And so they just feel very out of place and inappropriate. And in this case, it's like, okay, like cool. That's kind of cool. Okay. It's not, again, the worst thing I've ever seen or the worst concept for a campaign ever. It's been done before by others. I mean, people have already been doing comparisons with like Batman Arkham Asylum with Scarecrow and pointing to those sequences as being a big inspiration for what they do here. And I think that that's probably true. It's a point of inspiration, and that's fine. Just because something's been done one way before, it doesn't mean nobody can ever take their own spin on it. But I do think it is interesting to see that it really just does not feel like Call of Duty, you know? It feels like something else, something different. And I think that's where most of the complaints are. It's just people being like, this isn't Call of Duty. It's not necessarily bad, it's just not Call of Duty, you know? My biggest frustration with these games is that it feels like they just don't innovate at all, or even try to innovate, really. Like, it's just the same thing you've seen 15,000 times. And in this case, it's like, okay, shoot the guys. Oh, there's some red barrels you can take a shot at, and then those red barrels will explode. So there's that. Some AoE attacks. Okay, I gotta run away from those. Cool. You know, I'm hoping that we start getting some games that really do wacky stuff, do some fresh stuff, like, oh, the shielded enemy. Cool. Never seen that before. Yeah, I just want something new. It's just so played out. I'm sorry, I just can't get over some of this stuff, like the no pausing even when you're playing solo. Like, my dog was just barking. It's like, oh, I'll just go I'll go let him out, and you know, we'll throw the ball for a few minutes, and then I'll come back down. I'll keep recording. But like, you can't. Like, it just keeps going. And at this point, if I delete it, or if I leave the match, as they phrase it, and I go do something else for an hour or something, and then I try to come back, I lose all progress on this mission because they don't have checkpoints. Like, you'd think, oh, you just killed all the enemies in this area, as I just did. Okay, checkpoint. Now you can leave and you can pop back in. Little bitty quality of life stuff that's been normal in gaming since like 2002. Okay, this is not like a bold, ambitious thing to have checkpoints in a campaign or a pause button. But I guess in the year of our Lord 2025, Phil Spencer and the Xbox crew deemed it not important. I guess it's just bizarre. Like, it's really, really amazing. Here we are, a boss fight. Okay. What you got? The music is kind of fun, I guess. Like, am I just running around the arena? Like, is this really what we're doing? Is this okay? I'm sorry. I know I'm being sassy and like kind of bitchy. I get it, but like, I really struggle with this, man. I really struggle with this. Like, the really kind of low effort campaigns, and then the quality of life stuff where it's just like stuff that should not even be a question. You should have a pause button. You should have the ability to play this solo and be able to have like checkpoints to continue on later. Like, these are not crazy things, but because COD has had like no competition for ages, they've been able to do just whatever they want for ages. Oh, I can't use my jump. There we go. Oh my god. That was weird. I couldn't use the jump. I think I clipped into the bush, maybe? I'm not sure. That was weird. Man, these videos, I always try to like be a little bit more upbeat. We're having fun, we're vibing, we're playing games. But this, like, I don't know, man. It just feels so soulless. Like, I know that there's a lot of very talented people who worked on this and are very, very capable developers and really do good work. Don't get me wrong. But there's just something about like the Xbox era of Call of Duty that just feels so corporate and so artificial and clinical, and it just drives me crazy because like it just feels like a game made by checklist and formula and then also committee at the same time. And you can tell, like, in the conference room when they're talking about this, like, okay, people are complaining that we're not taking enough risks, so let's have it so everybody gets poisoned with a poison gas. We can do crazy missions like where you're in this weird magical space, or we do the Inception, like the city folding over itself, or we do a sequence where you fight a gigantic kaiju monster, and then we'll do a sequence where you're in a zombies level basically, but the zombies are helping you and you're fighting with the zombies, which is a cool reversal of the normal system. And if you think all of that sounds exaggerated, it's because like all of that is actually in this campaign. I'm not making any of that up. Okay, and that level's over, and so now it loads into a new level, which is a separate map. So I believe at this point, this technically counts as the end of a chapter. So you could close the game at this point and not have to restart everything that I just did. But it's like a solid 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the length of the chapter, that you have to basically commit to every time you sit down. But this is the next little area. Okay. Vision pulse. Okay. Doing that. Cool. But it's also, it's very truncated, broken up by levels and by chapters, because again, it's basically built as a multiplayer mode. This isn't really a campaign, a single player campaign in the traditional sense. This is more of the same stuff they've been doing. It's just basically called the campaign with some more like handcrafted environments that are not meant to be just recycled over and over and over again in the same matches over and over. But how did I miss you? Did you just fall down? I guess I just ran past him. But you know what? It is not fair to cast judgment on something that is in its infancy. And at this point, we are through with the first chapter or two. I'm not actually totally sure how far. Whoops, F. I keep tapping E to interact. We are not going to dismiss it outright yet, but I'm going to keep playing, and I will be back for you momentarily. For me, probably a couple of hours, and I will have more to share. And hopefully, when you see me next, I will be smiling jubilantly because it got way, way better. See you in a second. Yeah, it didn't get better. It got worse. Long story short, the campaign is just kind of ass. I think it's the same stuff over and over and over again. It's fighting waves and waves of zombies or little spider creatures, and they all are like these androids, and they all are basically the same archetypes. They just are copy and pasted. So mechanically, it's just not that interesting. Beyond that, visually, I do think it's interesting. There's a lot of varied environments. I think they do deserve some credit for that, but it is broken up into dedicated levels. It's very outdated in layout and structure. In my view, it feels like a campaign from like a 2008 video game, and so it just doesn't feel innovative at all. And paired with that, it doesn't really feel like Call of Duty. Like, it just doesn't. It's weird. It's hard to describe even what it's like, but it's just weird. It's weird. And paired with all of this is other stuff that just makes it feel lifeless and corporate. And there's even a scandal breaking out right now as I'm filming this video, where apparently Activision used a bunch of AI art generation with like the Studio Ghibli art style for achievements and for quest objectives and stuff. So instead of having artists like actually draw these, they used, I don't know, Midjourney or Grok. Sorry, my phone's blowing up with people rambling about how ass this is. And they basically just doubled down on it. They said, quote, like so many around the world, we use a variety of digital tools, including AI tools, to empower and support our teams to create the best gaming experiences possible for our players. Our creative processing continues to be led by talented individuals in our studios, saying, yeah, what are you going to do about it, basically? And, you know, I think the average consumer won't notice that these are AI generated art pieces. I think they're just going to assume that it was drawn up by somebody. But no, like, this is Microsoft's push, is to get AI tools in the workplace. Copilot used everywhere, generative AI used everywhere, and this is how they're doing it here. And it's not the first time. Last year, for example, they had a bunch of AI art that was generated where like characters had multiple like extra fingers and stuff, and it was really, really obvious. This particular AI art is better. It's gotten better, to be fair, but it's just so soulless and lifeless, and it's really, really too bad. So what are you going to do at this point other than call it out and then I guess not support it if you don't want to support it. But when we double it down and we consider everything else, like with how just soulless the campaign feels, how bizarre it is, it gets really, really hard to find a silver lining with all of this. I mean, this is like, these are some of the clips that have been going viral with regard to this campaign, and for good reason. Like this, whatever this is, does not feel like Call of Duty. I mean, it's like a giant kaiju monster fight against the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, it just, I don't even know what this is at this point. There's another mission where like literal zombies team up with you and you play with zombies on your team, like to push a cart, and then you stand behind the cart for cover as shots get, rained in on you. It's just bizarre. Like I, on the one hand, appreciate that they were willing to try something different and weird, but it just ends up being weird. And it feels like also low effort too, because it's like, oh, well, we have these zombies that we use for the zombies mode. Let's just copy and paste that in here. We'll use it for part of the campaign. And then you stack on top of it the other stuff, like the always online, the inability to pause, no freaking checkpoints, AI art, all this stuff. It just gets really, really hard to be like, yeah, it's great. Because it's just 1,000 negative things. And then you're like, yeah, but the varied environments are cool. Like, okay, we can take that. And there's a couple of dubs, and I could see people enjoying the gunplay. I could see that, I guess, maybe grinding out challenges on really high difficulties, but it's just soulless to me. It like actually makes me kind of sad, because I remember playing Call of Duty at my uncle's house when, that was way back in the day. It was on the 360. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember it was like the coolest thing ever. And it was exciting, and it was artistic, but also just fun. And I don't know, it's a part of like my childhood and my early teen years and everything. And now it's just so lifeless. It's so corporate. It's just sad. But the good news is that it's receiving some actual competition now. In fact, just earlier on stream, I checked it out, and it turned out on Twitch, there were more active concurrent viewers for Arc Raiders than for all of Call of Duty Black Ops 7. And that is crazy. Like the idea that Embark with Arc Raiders, previously they had only done the finals, the idea that they are out competing Call of Duty Black Ops 7 on its like big launch day in Twitch viewership, that is insane. Even if they're in the same ballpark, that's still crazy. But I think it really shows that people have been looking for an alternative to Call of Duty for years. They just haven't had an option. But now that games like Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, now that those games are available and out, people are actually sinking their teeth into them, finding that there is a lot more sustenance in these other games, and they're jumping ship from Call of Duty. And I think it's going to be good, not just for those other games, but for Call of Duty itself, because it'll force them to try and be competitive. It'll force Microsoft and Xbox to actually take it up a notch and try and, adhere to basic standards that have been around for 2 decades with their games. And I think it'll be good for everybody in the long run. It's just too bad that we have to endure some really crappy campaigns in the short term. So what are you going to do? Let me know what you think of all of this in the comment section below. If you're going to try it yourself, I'm genuinely interested. It's only about 4 hours long, the campaign. If you were grinding like the hardest difficulties and like really, really pushing, you might be able to get to like 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 if you suck. But like you're going to fly through this really quickly. And it's probably a good thing, because I can only imagine if this thing overstayed its welcome, how miserable it would be. But anyway, let me know if you're going to be playing in the comment section below. Thank you again to our sponsor, and thank you for watching and making my dreams a reality every single day so that I can play things like this. Thanks a lot. Much love. I'll see you in the next video. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.